Hello and all. Welcome to another episode of MMA Vision Analysis. This one we're talking Coach Javier Mendez and his recent comments on Coach Khabib Nurmagomedov. I can't believe I'm saying that, but it's a factual thing. It's a real thing, and the fruits of Khabib's labor we can see right before our eyes. We're going to talk about Coach Javier Mendez comments on the Schmoes channel. Before getting started, make sure to like, subscribe, click that notification to get all of this that is new from this channel, your channel, the one and only MMA Vision Analysis. Recent interview Coach Javier Mendez did with the Schmo on the Schmoes channel, obviously. Coach Javier talked about so many things. He covered a lot of ground. For me, it's like a gold mine of content, really, because he talks about so many important things that could affect our sport, and change the landscape of certain divisions. We talked about the possibility of Islam Makhachev moving up to not welterweight but middleweight, which obviously Coach Javier talks about. We talked about also Khabib Nurmagomedov and how he still basically outclasses guys that are fighting currently. He covers that kind of ground. And also we talked about, or rather he talked about in this interview, Khabib Nurmagomedov and how Khabib quickly turned himself into a world-class mixed martial arts coach. We talked about it in this channel time and time again. Whatever it is, words cannot describe it. Us as human beings, sometimes we lack the words to describe exactly what it is. But whatever it is, it's very real. And influence, I guess, would probably describe what it is. With Khabib Nurmagomedov, I can explain how. Obviously, under Khabib Nurmagomedov and Coach Javier Mendez in the entire camp, but I want to say Khabib specifically, and there's a reason for it. We saw basically his influence on two different champions only in the UFC, and I believe another champion, his cousin Usman Nurmagomedov in Bellator, which is the lightweight champion, also basically part of the same camp. Obviously, we have Islam Makhachev, the lightweight champion. We also have Bilal Muhammad, who trained with Khabib, and he actually makes the comments on how Khabib, till this day, basically outclasses our welterweight champion. I mean, literally, Bilal has a video where he says the guy, just literally sitting on top of Bilal Muhammad. He's just like casually just basically ragdolling or manhandling our welterweight champion and ordering a coffee simultaneously, which, just kind of gives you an idea of what you're dealing with. Not only it's a phenomenal athlete, but an excellent coach and a heck of a role model. And whatever it is, for the fighters perceiving his presence, it might be his influence, his stoicism, his just character. He's just an influential person. Sometimes you need influence. There are great examples and correlations all across sports and in life in general, but Khabib Nurmagomedov is most certainly one of the most potent and impactful kind of role model that could fill his current position that we have currently. I'm a huge fan of other camps and other coaches. Obviously, coaches like Javier Mendez, he's overlooked many champions in many different divisions, right? AKA is one of the most notorious gyms that's brought us some of the best athletes in the UFC, in the world, period. Whether we're talking about Cain Velasquez, Daniel Cormier, Khabib Nurmagomedov, and now Islam Makhachev, we have Umar Nurmagomedov, and so on and so on and so on and so on. There's some of the names that we forget. Obviously, no disrespect to anybody. We have Coach Faraz Zahabi. We have the coach of Israel Adesanya, I believe Eugene. I forget the guy's name. So many other tremendous coaches who all have fantastic personalities, but Khabib has quickly turned himself into probably the most influential, at least character / coach at this time. Obviously with the supervision of Coach Javier Mendez, and obviously he holds Coach Javier in high regards. But we're talking about Khabib specifically. Obviously, Coach Javier Mendez comments on Khabib Nurmagomedov, and obviously this is it's actually very, very easy to see, obviously, and we're just getting started, really. I mean, the guy's only been in that coaching role for a very short period of time, and we can already see the fruits of Khabib's labor, and obviously with the help of everybody else. It takes a whole team to make it happen, but something about a guy like Khabib, just having him around, it's almost magical. I mean, in all honesty, if you really stop and think about it, the influence that this guy has on people, not only with like training but just his presence, I believe, gives guys the drive to impress Coach Khabib, which he's going to have that working for him for as long as he's going to coach guys. And it's just going to create more and more champions. So obviously, Coach Javier talks about exactly that. He sees how obviously he sees basically himself in Khabib Nurmagomedov, and he also sees his father, his who's also a coach, obviously one of the most influential people on Khabib's career, and I believe one of the most influential men in the sport because of that by extension. I mean, if you really think about it. So we have that, and that's going to translate directly to the world of the UFC, which ultimately is going to transform I believe the sport collectively as a whole into a whole nother level, and it's changing the landscape of divisions, literally. We have these guys who, I can just name some of the guys in certain divisions that are from that part of the world, whether it be Chechnya or Dagestan, right? Or somewhere in between. We have Umar Nurmagomedov challenging for the Bantamweight Championship, UFC 311. Obviously, this is going to happen in Los Angeles, California. At the same time, lightweight champion is going to be defending his title, Islam Makhachev. Obviously, we have Bilal Muhammad, who's trained with Khabib Nurmagomedov prior to his welterweight bout against Leon Edwards, where he took the title from Edwards. We have 185, right? We have Shara, and we have Hamza Chimaev, who's the latter's probably much closer to a title shot, probably 1 or 2 fights away from title shot. Hamza Chimaev isn't. Don't put it past the realm of possibility that this guy is the future champion of the middleweight division, right? Hamza Chimaev has the highest potential, right? Light heavyweight division, we have a Magomed Ankalaev who's being curved time and time again by Alex Pereira. Most recently, Alex Pereira expressed disinterest in Ankalaev. I don't know if it's trolling or not. So we have bantamweight, possible future champion Umar Nurmagomedov, Islam Makhachev lightweight, Bilal Muhammad trained with the camp at welterweight, 185, whether it be Hamza Chimaev or Shara, Both of these guys have very high likelihood of becoming champions. Chimaev is closer. To understand, he's Chechnyan. And we have Ankalaev, who's one fight away from being crowned champion. I do understand it's a ginormous task for the guy, especially taking into consideration his last performance. But we just covered 4 out of 6 divisions. Let's see, bantamweight, lightweight, welterweight, middleweight, and light heavy. Excuse me, we covered 5 divisions out of 7 divisions, right? And they just, it's only a matter of time before you see a heavyweight contender and a flyweight contender, right? If they had the size, they would conquer those too. But what I'm trying to say is that the influence of that part of the world on mixed martial arts is clearly evident, whether we like it or not. And Coach Khabib Nurmagomedov is the most potent form of that style. If you made it this far, appreciate you for sticking around. Please let me know in the comments and subscribe for more.